This comic book artist is best known for creating the series Usagi Yojimbo. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brayton and welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're speaking with Stan Sakai. So how did you first get interested and involved in comic book artistry?
I grew up reading comic books. I grew up in Hawaii, and there's a big Japanese-American population there. And, I loved artwork, so I wanted to create my own comic book inspired by the life of a real 17th century samurai named Miyamoto Musashi. And one day I drew a rabbit, tied up his ears, and that's how Usagi Yojimbo was born. And now he's been published for more than 27 years.
And what do you think has influenced and inspired your style?
I was influenced by the Western, the American comics, as well as the manga. At that time, we just called them Japanese comics, though. Particularly the works of Osamu Tezuka. And in the American comics, it was Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, Sergio Aragonés, who I now work with, and
who is standing right behind you.
so many others. And more recently, it's the European comic artists, Manara, Mobius, and so many others.
Now, when you first started Usagi, did you have a specific readership in mind?
I had a very specific readership. I had a readership of one. These were the kinds of stories that I would have liked to read if I was a kid. And I'm just gratified that so many people have the same taste that I do. Usagi's published in 12 different languages. And it's just amazing to think that there's someone in Indonesia or Poland or the Czech Republic reading my stories.
If I'm not mistaken, I read that it's not translated into Japanese.
Correct. There has never been a Western comic book that has made any type of impression in the Japanese manga market, and which is unfortunate because it's such a wealth of wonderful works out there. Tell
us a bit about what exactly you have researched for the comic.
Various festivals, kite making, sword making. The story I'm working on now is about how they made soy sauce back in feudal Japan. And one of my best known stories is called Grass Cutter. And it deals with the sword grass cutter that was given to Japan by the god found in the Dragon's Tail. And it started off with a history of the Japanese island, or the creation of the Japanese islands, and follows the sword grass cutter throughout history to Usagi's time, which is about the 17th century Japan. And that took about 5 years off and on to do the research. But that book received an Eisner Award, American Library Association Award, Spanish Hackster Award. It's been used also as a textbook in Japanese history classes on the university level. So I'm very gratified for that. And it's also just a great action-adventure story as well.
How common is that level of research for a comic book?
It's very rare. And of course, I don't let the research bog down the story. So I many times add story notes at the back of the book, talking about various aspects of the culture or history that I've talked about, and just giving more insight into the Japanese culture. And actually, I just received the Japanese Cultural Ambassador Award from the Japanese American National Museum for the works in disseminating Japanese culture throughout the world, which was a huge honor for me.
Now, do you enjoy working with other people on other people's comic strips?
Oh yeah, I enjoy working with people I like Sergio. I've been working with Sergio on Through the Wanderer for more than 25 years. Stan Lee, I do the lettering for the Spider-Man newspaper strips, and I do that because I get to work directly with Stan, who's, he is the first name I knew in comics, of course, with Stan Lee Presents.
Are you still working on the World of Warcraft strip?
I have a regular feature in World of Warcraft magazine. It's a one-page strip in every issue. And I'm not into gaming particularly, so when I turned in the first story, they said, no, you're giving the gnome goblin proportions. Remember, these are gnomes you're working with. And I did not know they had the difference between gnome and goblin proportions.
I was going to ask, they must have a huge encyclopedia of specifications. Is it difficult to follow?
Sometimes it is, but many times they just want your personal take on it. But you do have to follow some rules, such as with Bart Simpson. There's always 9 spikes on the top of his head, or at least it has 8. You just follow those simple rules, but they do want your personal take on their characters.
Great, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.